Hi, I'm Beth and I'm head of photography at B&A Reps. We're an artist management company and I've been an agent for nigh on 30 years. So I've seen a lot of change in our industry. I've repped a lot of photographers over that time, seen the switch from analog to digital. We are working with a photo editor just to do this post to help any photographers out there. You've asked some really good questions, so I'm just going to dive right in here and have a look. Ren Adkins Photo asked, I'd love to get your thoughts on the overall well-being of our industry. How's it looking from B&A's point of view? It's tough. It is a tough landscape out there, but I am super positive. I am a positive person, but I am super positive about our industry. I think that AI obviously has had an impact on those mid-level jobs, but I think like any new tool, it will balance out and it will find its way. And I think that's what's happened is that a lot of people now are looking for more authentic photography, those moments in between the moments, the non-performative work that people do. So that's been great for a lot of my photographers because a lot of them shoot in that style. We will adapt. The world's on fire, but I think that our industry will survive. People thought that when photography came out, art was going to die. It didn't. People thought when digital came out, analog was going to die. It didn't. And AI is just like another tool, like CGI. You comp people into backgrounds. Does it matter whether that's a CGI background or a plate or, AI? It doesn't really matter. You still need the photographer. And, what connects us, oh God, I'm going to get a bit deep now, is connection. And you don't get that with AI. We need to have that connection to feel alive, to believe. So I think that that's always going to be something that we'll have. But yeah, want to AI their entire catalogue, fill your boots up, you can do that. No one cares. But I can't imagine bona fide brands that have, that want that authenticity and want to connect with their customers. They don't want that. Okay, so next question. This is from Lorene Photo. What's the difference between work that's visually impressive and work that's commercially viable? Good question. I don't think there is a difference really. I think that if it's great work, it's going to be commercially viable. I think that ad agencies want to win awards. They want to tell great stories. They want to create great work. And I think if you've shot something that is from a unique perspective and visually compelling, I think that eventually that will be commercially viable because people want to buy into that. There's nothing worse than just seeing a book full of ads. You need to see some of that, but you also need to see somebody's point of view. What are they saying? What is their take on it? That's where it's really inspiring. Next. This is from Janae Photo. What should photographers be showing to get represented and where should they show it? So I think you need to show a mix of your personal work and some commissioned work. I need to see the commissioned work because I need to see that you can deliver on a job. And I want to see the personal work because I want to see that what your take is, what your eye is, what your visual language is. So a mix, I would say. And I would say email agencies on their submissions. Next question. This is from, it's all run together so I can't see who it's from. It's Diala Canello Photo. What do agencies look for in order to represent a new photographer? I have a little criteria for what I look for in a photographer, and I call it the Holy Trinity. It's talent, it's personality, and it's business acumen. And not many photographers have all three. Talent, I need to see something that you're trying to tell me. I need to see that eye. I need to see that raw talent. Business-wise, I need to know that you understand our business, how it works, that you're on top of your database, that you have been contacting clients, that you're not just relying on me as an agent to do that. It is a partnership and you need to have that as well. And then personality, you need to have a personality as a photographer. You can be the most talented person if you can't talk to people or you can't converse and tell an art director how you envisage the shoot going. If you're on a vibe call with a client and you're just monosyllabic, you're just not going to get the job. You need to have that personality, good personality, be personable. You need to have the talent, obviously. And I do also look for somebody with a bit more business side as well. But obviously agents are there to help with that, but it's good that you have a bit of an interest in it as well. Okay, next question. Tom Moore Studios. Do photographers need to bring along epic clients, yes please, to be considered by a rep? Or does point of view and talent still apply? Point of view and talent does still apply. You don't need a huge amount of epic clients. You do need some clients. You don't need an agent if you don't have any clients. Obviously, we are here to grow your clientele, but I don't think there's any point in having an agent take commission from you if you don't have a decent base to start with. So next question, Lorraine Photo. When you look back at photographers you've represented, what qualities predicted their success? Ooh, good question. Talent, timing, tenacity. That's it, really. Right time, right on trend, a little bit of luck, talented, obviously, and somebody who's tenacious, that keeps going. You know, there was a terrible time in photography when there was the huge recession. I think it was 2008 maybe, but yeah, it was awful, and you know, nobody had any work and everybody's going for the same jobs. Those people that were tenacious and stayed and just kept shooting were the ones that survived. Same with digital, you know, when it went digital, the ones that moved through to digital from analog, they were the ones that survived. Somebody, Nyamika. You see, if you can see here, you can see that I can't read what these names are because they're all run together for Instagram. So yeah, lovely person asked this question. What expectations should a photographer and an agent have of each other? Oh, good question. So many photographers, not any of my photographers, but a lot of photographers think that the agent is I've got an agent now and the agent's going to do all of the work and I can just stay at home and, you know, do what I want and not have to worry about that. That is not what an agent does. An agent is there to help you get better rates, to help you get better conditions, to negotiate better contracts, to guide you to the right work. We have loads of clients that we bring to the table. I think a photographer and agent is a partnership. I mean, I say to some of my photographers, I'm like agony aunt, psychiatrist, mother, you know, there's all sorts of things tied up in that because you work really closely with somebody, and I absolutely am invested in my photographers wholly. You know, they're my friends as well. I like them. I think that you've got to go into it as a partnership. That's what I look for, and that's what you should be expecting when you join an agency. You shouldn't be expecting the agent to do all the work and you just sit around and do nothing. It is a partnership. We do it together. Next question. Oh, I've still got a pile. Class in Photography asked, what is the agent cut on a typical project? If I'm already making a great living, I'm not sure it's worth exploring representatives. Absolutely your prerogative that. If you don't feel you need an agent to make your life better, then that's fine. I know there is this kind of myth that agents are kind of middlemen. I don't see myself as a middleman. I see myself as somebody who helps photographers, as I said, get better conditions, better rates, more clients, and also the guidance and the sort of finding the avenues. You know, we're out all day, every day. I try to do 3 appointments in real life, which, you know, is hard nowadays, but I try and go out and see clients 3 times a week. And so I'm seeing what's going on in these agencies. I'm going with different photographers. I'm on different calls for different briefs. So I have a really good picture of what's happening in the advertising world in London, where I am at the moment. You're getting all of that. You know, you're getting years of experience. And I feel like we're also part of the creative pipeline. We're there to help the photographers. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. It's absolutely chucking it down. I think we're part of the creative process. We help the agency, the ad agency. We're that point of contact. You know, if you're shooting a car job up a mountain and you've got no reception and you're up there for 3 days and you get in at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night and you're absolutely exhausted and you need to eat and you need to go to bed because you're up at 5 the next morning. Do you want to be doing all of that admin side of it? Do you want to be massaging the client, making sure the agency are okay, you know, sorting out a picking list or this, that and the other? That's something that I will do. Obviously, it's to make your life easier as well. So yeah, so I think we're value for money actually. Studio Marquise said, what's your take on a photographer going to small mid-size agencies and saying, if I sign with you, every existing client I bring to the table, you don't get a cut, but any new client you bring to the table, you get your cut? Yeah, that wouldn't work for me, I'm afraid. I mean, if you have got somebody that you've worked with for many, many years and there's nothing to do there, there's no negotiation or, you know, anything at all, we could look at each situation. But on the whole, that's not very fair to come to an agent and say, oh, everything I get on my own is mine and you can just take the pickings, you know, of what you get. That's not a relationship. That you might as well just go everywhere with everyone. That's not building a partnership. Think about it in your personal life. If you did that, you need to start we're all putting everything into this and we're going to do our very best. And the thing is, if it doesn't work out, give it a while, you can leave. and if it's not working out for you, then it's not working out for me probably, because neither of us are doing very well. So we'll just come to an amicable close. But I think you have to be invested. You have to go in with everything. Next question. It's quite exciting, this, because I don't know what the questions are. Terence Patrick, if there's an overlapping style of work you represent, or if a client brief fits several people on your roster, how do you decide which person to pitch? We don't decide, the client decides. So we do have an overlap of people on our roster. We have a couple of photographers that are in that lifestyle sport sector, and they too do sometimes overlap. I mean, only recently I had an automotive brief in, and I had 2 photographers on that brief. So we basically 2 photographers from our agency treated for that job, and we just keep it very fair. I go on a call with the client with one photographer, and then half an hour later I'll go on the call with another photographer. It's very separate. So, we don't decide that. The client decides who they want to put into the mix. And actually, it's quite good sometimes if you have photographers overlapping, because you have time to really go into that market, and explore it even more. Miho Visuals. Do agencies have niche markets, or does it depend on the agency? I think we do have a general vibe. I'm in London, but we've also got a whole team in New York, which is mainly our head office. And we have a whole art side, which has illustrators, CGI artists, animators, muralists, AI. And then on the photo side, we have traditional photographers. And then we also have photographers that are kind of using a bit more CGI with photo, or AI with photo, or doing weird and wonderful magic things. So I would say that we are quite forward thinking as an agency. So that's kind of where we are looking. And I think other agencies have like either a fashion niche, or, more of a food and, lifestyle-y travel. So yeah, but I mean, obviously we have different photographers. We have automotive, we have travel, we have still life. But I think that we are, as an agency, quite forward thinking. Next question. Oh, Lorene Photo, you're on a roll. This is your 3rd question. Thank you. What opportunities do you see emerging that photographers aren't paying attention to yet? I think the hybrid photo AI will become more prevalent. I think AI people aren't maybe so good yet. So I think that shooting people more in the studio and putting them in a world that's been, AI generated. I think that will be a next big thing. I know that people have been doing it with CGI, and I know that we've got all those volume stages, LED stages and stuff that people have been doing it, but I just think it's going to get so much better that is going to be a way. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of briefs like that recently. On the flip side of that, I also think there's going to be a backlash to some AI, and I think a lot of people are going to want that more authentic shooting. And you can see that if you walk around London. I got the tube yesterday. Everywhere it's all very, lots of motion blur, lots of movement, loose, spontaneous, snappy type of photography. Last night I was looking at Nadav Kanda's Instagram posts, and he was posting old pictures that he'd shot through ad campaigns, and they're all so beautifully art directed and so static and just not what's happening now. So I think that authenticity and AI in 2 separate worlds. One more from Andy Olive. How much do you guys work on portfolio construction with your photographers? Is it a collaborative effort? Do you help photographers find their direction or follow their lead? I help them find their direction. They already have a good idea, but I would try and guide that to where I see there's work and where the clients are, and to open up new revenue streams, basically. I am absolutely involved in the construction of portfolios. It's what I do on a daily basis, updating the website, changing things, even some things if, we knew it was the World Cup coming up. So we would tailor the website to be more sport and World Cup. And, we do newsletters that we tailor. We know our clients, and we do put the portfolio together for that. But obviously photographers, creative people, they know what they want. So it is a collaboration, but I would always try and fight for what I think is going to get them the work, because obviously everybody wants to work. It's not a hobby, is it? I know lots of clients think we're all hobbyists, Duncan Longdon. What's the best way to outreach to clients who a photographer wants to work with? I've been in this industry a long while and now I'm looking to shoot more of what I love as opposed to taking any job that comes my way. Great. I mean, if you can do that, that's awesome. My goal is always to get my photographers better paid work so they don't have to shoot as much and so that they can do more of their own personal stuff and have more time off. You know, if you can do 5 jobs a year and make an amazing living from that, great. Why would you want to kill yourself doing back-to-back trips if, you know, you've got a family or, you know, you want to go and enjoy yourself? So I think the best way to outreach to clients is email nowadays, DM, LinkedIn, those normal channels. Emails are really hard. I mean, you know, I've got so many emails unread on my phone because there's just too many things to do day to day that you can't answer everybody. So I think that's where the tenacity comes in. You've got to be persistent. You've got to keep trying. You know, people aren't being rude. I mean, I know it feels like they're being rude. I mean, I feel it as well when I'm being ghosted. You don't hear back. And these aren't even people that I don't know. These are people that 3 months ago I was working with on another job. It's a real problem in our industry. It never used to be. I don't know why people have just, you know, lost their manners, maybe. Who knows? But I think that you have to be tenacious. You have to keep trying. Email, LinkedIn, Instagram, DM. Yeah, and maybe send some printed things in the post. You know, that's going to get their attention. Or try and get an appointment in real life and go to networking events where you think they might be. And just be persistent. That's how you get remembered. And yeah, great. If you're shooting more of what you love as opposed to taking any job, then good on you, Duncan. Okay, this one's from Per Norberg. How do you keep up with clients asking to drop usage for strict fees and full buyouts? We all have to stick together on this one. People are trying to get licensing to be a thing of the past. People nowadays, I say people because I don't know whether it's the agency or the client or I don't know who it is that this is coming from, but lots of people do not want to pay usage and it's a slippery slope and we do not want this to happen. This is how a photographer makes their living from the usage. The day rate is for you to turn up and shoot. The usage is for the license for them to use your imagery because the copyright is yours and always will be. So I am quite strict on this. Depending on how much the photographer wants to shoot, we'll negotiate on buyouts. I mean, there are people, we all know it, they have everything in perpetuity, they have all IP. That's your decision as a photographer if you want to take that. I think that you just need to be careful about giving away your license for free and not charging usage because it is a slippery slope and then you'll all just be work for hire. Yeah. Next question. Heather McGrath. How do you handle clients wanting to use AI in your contracts? Do you charge more for that? And if so, how much? A lot of clients are trying to slide this in. Slide in the bottom somewhere in the small print. We would charge for it. We would charge for it exactly like we charge for any other, usage. Because once it's in their model, it's in perpetuity. It's there. They can train anything else on it. So we would charge it like we would charge a buyout, like a license. Okay, this is Alexander. How do you sell usage with AI materials since they cannot be copyrighted? Hang on, let me get my head around that. Okay, I understand now. A couple of our photographers have made their own LoRa, a low-ranking adaptation that is within the data set. So basically, what that means is that their back catalogue of work, because obviously some of them have 20 years worth of work, the AI is trained on that back catalogue. So that's all it knows. So it's not taking anything from anywhere else. It is literally trained on their work, so it will only generate something based in their style. We also have another guy who's doing the same thing, but he will give the client all the prompts so you can see exactly what he's prompted so that you've got provenance of that. You can see that he hasn't said, oh, can you generate that in the style of Miles Aldridge or somebody, that's sort of where we are. A lot of clients don't want to use AI. Some people are going into it. I think that the hybrid approach is where it's probably going to be better because it will just be more about the backgrounds, not great for scenic artists or for set builders. Yeah, sad, but that's the way it's going to go. Technology can't be put back in its box. So some agencies have their own in-house AI platform and they use that. Obviously, they probably wouldn't want to give us access to that for any of our artists because it would have access to the whole of their data. It's a grey area. It's the Wild West. It's still the Wild West. Some clients are okay with it, some aren't. I think that if you've got, I think there is legislation coming, but if you've got something that you've shot like the people and you're generating the backgrounds, then that's making it into a different shot that was created by a human. So that is then copyrighted because that's made by the photographer. Sorry, I can't really answer that better than that, Alexander. And I've just been told to say this is not legal advice. This is just my advice. Next question. This is from Mariana Bodner Photography. What's the limit for using AI for fine art photography? Do people accept this as being part of the creative process or try to keep their distance from it? Personally, I think AI doesn't give you taste. I've been saying this for like 2 years, and what I can prompt at home on Luma or, Midjourney isn't what, some of my artists are prompting, because they've got years of experience and they can prompt, I want this lighting, I want this camera, I want this lens, and put all of that in there so they get something very specific to them. They can build these LoRa's that I've talked about previously, where they're training it on their back catalogue. So this then starts to become more of a tool to help them create something even more fantastical than they could create in camera. In that context, that to me is art. That to me is creative. Somebody just doing AI slop, then no, that's not creative. But we're not in that world. Some people keep their distance, some people don't. I think you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So a lot of our photographers are, not a lot, but some are using it, but they're using it as a tool to enhance their existing work, to create something even more. They're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Hope that answers your question, Mariana. Oh, I've only got about 4 to go. Shawnice Photos. What are your thoughts on the actual images being produced and released via publications, inspirational, creative or otherwise? I think there's some amazing work out there. I mean, I went to Creative Review Awards a couple of weeks ago and they had the art director or the team from Mother and the client from KFC for their I Believe in Chicken campaign that they did. It was so inspiring what they were talking about, and their relationship was so fun. They set up a WhatsApp group called the Wobble Line in case the client got the jitters because they were doing something so out there for KFC that apparently the client came into the Mother headquarters and they were in like one of the meeting rooms, and she said, I want to make KFC an iconic chicken brand, the most iconic chicken brand, and one of the art directors at Mother crossed out chicken, which that's genius straight away. I mean, I had to given them the gig. So yeah, I think that there's lots of creative editorials out there at the moment. There's some lovely work that people are doing. So I think we're really in a creative phase at the moment. I'm running out of time, so I need to crack on. Alexander again, with the algorithm serving us the same old, how do you personally find new and exciting talent? This is always hard. I do go on Instagram, I go to exhibitions, I speak to people in the industry, I see who's doing what, I look at ads, I look at competitors, I go to shows, go to student shows. Yesterday I was reviewing portfolios from Central St Martin's. A bunch of photography students, final year, came in. There was a couple of people in there that were great, fantastic, all those things. That's what I do to try and find somebody, and word of mouth as well. Keep my eyes and ears open. How do I get in touch with you to discuss representation? Definitely always up for looking at submissions. We check it regularly. Just email us, submissions@ba-reps.com. submissions@ba-reps.com. General question from everyone: how do I get an agent? Email us submissions@bna.com. If it's something that we feel we've got the clients for, if we feel like we've got a gap in the roster, if we feel that you've got potential, then, we will be in touch. I mean, some of the photographers that we have been with us a very long time, and some have only been with us, a few months. I really want to build that relationship with photographers. I don't want to chop and change photographers all the time. I think it takes time to really get to know each other and to see where you're going and how you want to work and what you want to do. One of the things that I always ask photographers when they first join the agency is, what's your dream client? And not just a general, Nike or, whatever. It has to be who do you really want to shoot for? What kind of work? It doesn't have to be an actual client. What's your dream job? Is it on location? Is it in the studio? Is it, fashion? Or is it more lifestyle? It's really good to see where you want to go. So I think send stuff to submissions and just keep at it. Keep contacting. Agents are really busy. I have 18 photographers and we're busy. So just keep trying. Last question. Coco Hunt, last question. Do you have a reading list you would be willing to share with us? It does not have to be limited to photography. What books have influenced you as a person? So work-wise, when I first joined B&A, Sam Summerskill, who is our global brand director, gave me a couple of books, and one of them was David Ogilvy from Ogilvy Advertising, Ogilvy and Mather. His book called Confessions of an Advertising Man, and it's really fun. It's really good. He wrote it in like the 60s, and then he did a little preface, more recently. But it's a real insight. So I would say that was a really nice surprise, obviously from Sam, and really cool reading. And personally, it's going to sound like a cliche, but before I got into photography, I trained as an actress. So I'd have to say Shakespeare. Shakespeare probably influenced me the most. I think somebody once said that if you want to say something, Shakespeare said it better. I know whole soliloquies off by heart, usually the male part, not the female, but read into that what you will. I like the classics as well. George Orwell had a good, a massive influence on me. 1984, things like that. Lord of the Flies, those kind of things had an impact on me when I was younger and have stayed with me. But I'm not adverse to a bit of chick lit either. Anyway, that's it. That's all the questions answered. It's been really fun answering these questions for you. Hope I've brought some insight. I've got to get back to work. See ya!